Thank you. I'd just like to make a comment on this idea of parental involvement and what David was saying about the wall. I would say that's definitely my experience. And for example, it has taken me 3 years to get a parent to become involved, and only now that the child is in first class, working on it for 3 years, to get her, she has now joined a parents' course in the school. Incredible years. That's the first comment. And the second one I'd like to make to the Clare ladies, I'm just wondering about the accuracy of the translation. I find that sometimes with foreign national parents, sometimes the accuracy of the translation is not as good as we'd like it to be.
Well, we were very fortunate. We have a tutor who is from the Czech Republic, and we also had funding, as I mentioned, to include a community link person who is himself from the Czech Republic.
Yeah, that's just my point on translation, and certainly within our own service, I'm a homeschool liaison teacher, and within our own service, that sometimes what we want to communicate, if we're using a parent or a child or a co-worker to translate, mightn't always be as accurately as we might desire.
Yes, we have. It is a point.
Sorry, David wants to come in on that.
Just on the wall, I meant to say it earlier on. You know, if the parent again gets over the wall and comes into the school, it's crucial that you keep them in then. You know, I mean, if they've made, because that's a huge thing for them to come into the school. You know, we've got to look at ourselves if parents come in once and never come in again, and that kind of comes into barriers as well. Like they mightn't get on with certain parents on the, you know, there might be parents who it's just them, and you're nearly happy because you've got those four, but there's no one else coming in with them. And just if a parent does come in, you know, once they make that first step, you've really got to grab them and hold on. And you know, again, that kind of comes back to if the environment is right and the atmosphere is right, you will keep them. But just, it's a crying shame if a parent, you know, makes that step and then they never come back again, because that's on you.
My name's Sinead, I'm homeschool community liaison from Portlaoise, and actually until last year I was a resource teacher, set up the autistic unit. Just for the lady, American websites have a lot of information about Asperger's and all that, so there's plenty of resources there. But as homeschool, I kind of, the website is really good for the not 12-year-old. I'm just thinking for a second level school, if the children have a reading age of less than 8, and the parents perhaps also, is that material appropriate for them? Or to be honest, I haven't really looked on your website yet, but could we make use of it?
The material on it it's really making suggestions of ideas, the things parents can do. I think it might be of interest to have a look at it, you know, for parents of older children, just to see kind of, but maybe, I mean, you might be in a better position to actually judge that yourself by having a look, and yourselves as teachers, more than say myself. I'm a parent, but you know, I suppose a lot of the messages about a lot of the key messages of the website are to talk to your child, and about, I went to the National Parents Council, had John Lonergan speaking, I don't know if any of you were at it, but he said, like, you can't start chatting to your child when they're 14, you know, and how talking to your child kind of and building a relationship with your child is important. And other messages that are there, you know, that kind of how you do, I suppose it's really how you do some of the things. So I think possibly might be, but the other thing is that the department, you might want to think about this as well, the department, the strategy that was out last year isn't just up to not 12, but so there might be, you know, there could certainly be, I don't see why not, that this website wouldn't either be done, you know, in an older, a different website perhaps, you know, but for an older age group as well. So I don't know if you want to mention that in opportunities you get to lobby about that, or even ask the minister, I don't know.
I think it's one of the things that we have struggled with a little bit in the post-primary sector, where we have children with a lower reading age than their chronological age, and actually getting material which is age appropriate as well as reading age appropriate is quite difficult. My own sense, having absolutely. My own sense, actually, having had a peep at the website, is that some of the what to do sort of sections and how to work with your child might be appropriate, but I'm not sure that the material would necessarily be appropriate for a 14-year-old with a low reading age. But I would recommend you get on to NALA, because they do have excellent resources for children and young adults with low reading abilities.
If you know parents who want to return to education but don't necessarily want to go into a classroom setting, NALA has a distance learning service. There's a free phone number, you can pass that on to parents. They can phone up the service, they can be assigned to a tutor or assigned to their local VEC, wherever suits best, and they can work online. We find that the distance learning service is particularly successful with men. We tend to get a lot more men involved in distance learning than in a more traditional, for want of a better word, setting. So it's just to remind you that that service is available, it's available free, and it's available to all adults.